and sharing. Oh, it just said something. I got it.
That's okay, Gabby, you can just ignore that.
I know, but it was all in front of my face, a big sign. I couldn't see myself. Anyway, let me just look at my notes here. I think I really have said everything in terms of welcoming people and sharing in a day of love, of all kinds of love for other people, love for our animals, love for our life, our gardens, whatever it is that you tend to be sharing with your writing, just welcome. I would like to introduce our first reader. I was just being sure I didn't miss anything important that I was going to say, but I'd like to welcome our first reader, who is Ella Aton. Ella was a longtime co-chair of the Marin Poetry Center. She's a dear friend, wonderful member of Women Who Write, and she writes wonderful, wonderful, wonderful poetry. Ella, I know I don't know the titles of each of your books, and so if you wouldn't mind before you get to read, because I know one of it is Haying the Backfields. Is that what it is? What is that?
Haying the Far Fields.
The Far Fields, yeah, which is a wonderful, wonderful collection. But I just welcome you today to begin our reading. So there you go, Ella.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we write about love for Valentine's Day, but I would like to start with some poems that indicate the problem with loving. It's not always easy. So my first poem is, I did Haying the Far Fields, Poems on a Minnesota Childhood was my first book. My second book was After a Certain Age. And my third book is called Stumbling Up the Mountain. And a lot of these poems are from there and who knows where, I don't even remember. Anyway, the first poem is The Way I Know You. The way I know you differs day by day, depending on sun or rain or how well I've slept. It's about which parts of you I let in, which parts I keep out. About the accumulation of months and years, some of pluses, the minuses that weigh heavy each day. Face it, the way I know you is like the way clouds form and reform across the arc of sky, or how rivers rise after a rain, then gradually drain. My second poem is entitled First Time. Lost in the noise of everydayness is that first love, first kiss, first time for anything, really. Its unbearable sweetness is the accumulation of our fears and hopes, a new reality reaching into the future, the terrifying beauty of what could be. And I'm going to go back into my past a bit. It's called Romancing the Brush. It was a summer of my romance with the artist and with his paintings, which were enormous. No subject, all predicate, adjectives colliding in a puddle of greens, magentas, and blues. We careen through a museum's mad for de Kooning and Pollock, the splashed at, dripped on expressions of now. I watch him turn a blank canvas to colors that vibrated. Thrilled by the idea of creation, I didn't see how he wanted me, primed and ready, object to his verb. Later, I discovered mixing a hues opposite on the color wheel created shadow. How I could lay down pigment as primary, as raw as any abstract expressionist. How doing it myself without modifiers would open for me the world. And again, more on the difficulty of loving. Hard moons. Your voice can fall sharp as hail or mellow as bass notes in a Bach cantata, lifting the ordinary to power. I listen to the silence between us, desperate to understand why we pick at the dead bones of why did you, or if only, that we know will lead us astray. Something dark skulks in the corners of our rooms. Perhaps it has been there through all time. Beyond us, our world, hard stone spinning through blackest space. Come to me now and again now. Turn the hard moon of your body to mine, dark side to dark. Let the little light fall where it will. This next one is called True Nature. You see in your mother, your child, your lover, a distant look, a tear, or hear in what they say, a deep wisdom. In that moment, you apprehend their true nature, reaching so deep it goes beyond them. Search for the words to describe it, and the moment drifts, diaphanous, a plume of mist. This poem I wrote while my husband was dying, and I said it to myself practically every night. I could almost do it by heart, but I don't trust doing it by heart here, so I'm going to read it. It's called Stops Along the Way. The sun has been steady all day, easy to think it reliable. You bend your head toward me that dear way you have, needing no speech. I always thought I knew where we were going, that there was a destination, stops to make along the way at certain stations, but there was only the road, straight at first, blurred at the edges with our speed, curved now near the end, slowing us. Time to see how weeds will sprout, even in asphalt, how grass lifts its offering of seed to the wind and is gone. Soon the sun will pull its 1,000 threads of light behind the hill. Nothing is reliable but this moment. And my last poem is what we hope we can arrive at when it comes to love. Train is the name of the poem. Windows rattle, seats sway, smell of diesel, scorched metal. It's stuffed with the weight of my life. At the door, right foot on the step, I hang on but lean out. I keep grabbing air. It's traveling too fast to jump off. The landscape whips by, and the memories. I want to hug everything close. There go the people I've loved. I wave, but their eyes are buttoned on their lives. Odd, when I let them go, I revere them more. I thought I loved only a few, instead a multitude. Yet we remain on alternate tracks, moving further and further apart, off into distance. That's my poems. We ready to do our next reader? Okay, our next reader is Laurel Feigenbaum. She is an inspiration to us all with her vitality and zest for life. She was born and raised in San Francisco and holds a BA in English literature from UC Berkeley. She says writing is a way of coping with the often absurd world in which we live. She has served on the board of the Marin Poetry Center, and her first book is The Daily Absurd. You can find her poems in our anthology, The Sum of Us. Please welcome Laurel. You have to unmute, Laurel. Yeah.
Mute.
There you go.
There I do. Okay. You can't much do. If you're mute, it's the end of the poetry. So I will comply here. As I started to say, thank you so much, Ella. And my first poem is called Coexistence. And as Gabby said, love and appreciation and a good life can come from any source. So this is called Coexistence. Crisp brown sycamore leaves crunch underfoot, while sun gold leaves from Japanese maples cling to branches. I eat breakfast as my granddaughter eats lunch. My son, miles away, eats dinner, as many eat nothing. I watch television, read, sip fragrant tea, sleep as banks are robbed, gangs smash and grab, set fires. Mating goldfish foreplay, chase, nudge, bump each other around a tank. A newborn baby's cry is heard every 4 seconds. Outside, looking in, a thrush perches on a chair's rim, admires its reflection in the bedroom glass door. I'm inside, looking out at him. Imagine a message from my dear husband, no longer here. And this is called Flower Power in My Garden. Perfumed jasmine from Iran, a yellow sunflower from Mexico, make room for natives. Buttercups, Indian paintbrush, a wild iris, all greeted by an English rose. Every species needs every other. The Japanese maple sheds its leaves, seeds, and reseeds, offers food and shelter for the birds and bugs. The sweet and sour of a lemon tree, without the fragrant flower, there is no fruit nor nectar for buttercups to sip. Aphids suck juice from leaves, stems, roots of plants, while lizards gobble aphids, beetles, ants. Neither sun, wind, nor rain discriminate, nor bees that pollinate. Side by side they live, thrive as I do in this homegrown garden, microcosm of diversity. This is called Currency, and it's a prose poem. The headline reads, California moving to embrace cryptocurrency. I wonder what my mother would have thought as she declared being too old for the ATM. Her wallet carefully arranged low to high in denominations. What would she have done with this latest wrinkle in money management? Just what I'm doing, nothing. I've managed to embrace a pandemic, but I'm not bumping elbows or mimicking an embrace with crypto, hidden, secret, and currency to run, according to their Greek Latin origins. I trade in the currency of long life, friends, family, the natural world, watching a fluffy fledged house finch try its wings, dinner and concert with friends. Most of all, what could be of greater value than a cuddle on a couch with my not quite year-old great-granddaughter, Ellie, her sweet warm body pressed against mine, our heads together. And here we've got, this is Spring Has Sprung. Clusters of draped jasmine perfume the air. Pink, yellow, rose cymbidium in large clay pots thrive. Great-grandchildren watch a tiny lizard play hide and seek as they make bouquets. Little Ollie, yellow daisies. His 5-year-old sister Roz, pink pet petunias. A male house finch waddles near, shows off his scarlet breast. Their song more varied, softer, sweeter in spring. Love is in the air, though the red-roofed birdhouse remains for rent, inspected and rejected by a pair of bluebirds. Location, location. Morning doves flash white winged stripes as they fly in tandem. The red-shouldered hawk camps on a telephone pole. Squeals of children's laughter from the camp bounce house in the nearby park. Why go anywhere when life here is everywhere? And my last poem, A Body at Rest. I don't know about the sun or moon, but I don't rise easily. I wax, I wane, but I don't rise easily. In full sun, I shine or shimmer, cry like the rain, roam like clouds, clap like thunder, howl like wind, bay at the moon, sparkle or fall like a star, but I don't rise easily. Mine is a reluctant rise, fostered by inertia, a body, if not mind, at rest. Drifting, dreaming, perhaps reading, till time or gnawing hunger tugs against resistance, and I rise, leaving behind my morning mind. You wanted me to keep on keeping on. I have and I do, but not easily without you. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce Melanie Mayer, my poet and friend, and our next reader. She and Gabby are the founding, our first founding members, really, from 18 years ago, though I haven't been doing it. I haven't been part of it that long, but I'm lucky to have the support and friendship of these fine women and poets. Melanie, you're next.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see you this 18th year of our Valentine's Day reading. I lost my husband a year ago, a little over a year ago, right after our 58th wedding anniversary. Peter Mayer was, as some say, and I agree, a spectacular man. And so today I'm going to read poems that are dedicated to him. Night. My husband sleeps deeply. I lie next to him, watch his chest move with each breath. Things change, but not this. Sometimes he laughs and speaks whole sentences while he dreams. One night at dinner, he said, "I'm getting old." I said, "Oh no, not you." He stopped talking and made me turn to look out our window, made us take time for the rising moon. At water's edge, we drive across the Bay Bridge, 1963. On our way to dine and dance, he says, "I know a joke on any subject." I say, "Mermaid?" He, definition of a mermaid: too much fish to eat, not enough woman to love. A wicked sense of humor, a smooth dancer, opens doors for me, and such a generous heart. I fell fast. I'm 20, he's 34. During a time when problems plague us, I dream we walk arms linked at water's edge on a white sand beach. The Sunday I'm to leave for a poetry retreat, he gives me a long kiss and warm hug. He says, "These days I feel insecure without you." He tells me his dream the night of my return. I come to him and say, "I'm going to live in the wild, somewhere no one needs money, at the bottom of a mountain beside a lake." I put my arms around him, say, "I belong here." Heart failure. I relax eating duck pancakes with a friend of 60 years. Between us, 2 tall metal heaters at a restaurant's outside table adjacent to a traffic street in Venice, California. On San Francisco's Baker Street, where I grew up, a coyote closely follows the woman walking her dog. My husband of 58 years slowly disappearing, shrinking, no longer himself. My time in Venice, a short respite. Weeks ago, over lunch in our dining room, we watch a blue heron atop our birch tree, neck outstretched to look out over the lagoon, then preening, beak between feathers. In Priest Point Park, Olympia, Washington, a family of 4 call their deceased 4-year-old daughter on a rotary phone, attached to a tree, though connected to nothing. They often come to talk to her, if only for a short time, which alleviates, soothes their collective grief. And in Japan, on a mountain slope, Mourners come to a telephone booth connected to nothing, Nashingu, and speak to their lost loved ones. In Georgia, 3 white men accused of murdering Ahmaud Arbery, a lone Black man out for a run, when they corner him with a shotgun, are found guilty in my otherwise bleak day. As I take my husband to the ER and he is admitted to the hospital, his doctors discuss and tweak treatment. 3 weeks later, we lose him as he rests comfortably at home. Today, when I see the photo of you in China with your dimpled smile, a baby panda on your lap, it makes me smile too. When the sun warms me, I remember you picking the last apples of the season from our lone fruit tree. When we find your hoard of nail clippers, watches, birthday cards, unworn tennis shoes, and more, so much more. Now, really, I say aloud to you, when I hear Besame Muchu, feel you holding me close as we dance to kiss me a lot. It's as if you were here. When one night driving down my darkened street, a doe passes next to me and not far behind a buck with handsome rack, I'm thinking of you. When the afternoon sun sprinkles our neighbors' trees with sparks of gold and the wind sways their branches, it saddens me we can't share this. When I find myself in a bathroom at Restoration Hardware, you laugh at me with that whole body laughter as I dance to the piped in Latin music. Today, and often, I picture you somewhere teaching shadows to samba, hanging out with Buzz and Claude, tipsy from sipping great wine. And that is my last poem. Thank you for being here. And now, next reader is Angelica. And I'm blanking on your last name. That's terrible. But Angelica is a dynamite German poet. And she just won a prize from submitting a German written poem. And her most recent book is Kriegskinder, which you can get. I want to introduce, and it's my pleasure to introduce Angelica. Quirk, I remembered. Sorry about that, Angelica.
Okay, I'm glad you remembered. Can you hear me all right, everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, Kriegskinder is actually a memoir that I wrote about my childhood growing up in Germany during the war and after the war. So I'm glad to share some of my poems with you. I'll start with one. I always have a lot of trouble with the title, so this doesn't have a title. Every day you play with the light, catching its clarity in your eyes. You throw its blinding beam into my face. What intensity. This morning I wrote a song for you, walked its note into your narrow straits between ribcage and collarbone, along the curve of your neck until I arrived. Roderich, where are you from, mein Schatz? Blue eyes deep as alpine lakes, hands gnarled oaks that clutch the light, seeking tenements in the clouds. Your song, the soliloquy of a breeze, the bells of St. Michael calling. From where did you retrieve those words, mein Liebling? From the murmur of the river or the tidal whispers of ebb and flow. Like late summer lights, they flood through my wide open window. You offer me a glass of Riesling from the Rhine Valley of legends, of Lorelei who lured boatsmen to their demise. Your eyes speak of Goethe's sorrows of a young Werther. I'll dance for you tonight, veiled, blinded, a rosary around my neck. I pluck an edelweiss from the jagged mountaintops and give it to you before you disappear behind the clouds. I write a lot of different kinds of styles. This is completely different. At the hoedown, flaunting red combs, holding heads high, they ogle the flock, not wasting any time, but realign their feathers, their eyes spying on chicks from the coop as they mosey over to the hall. Strutting their stuff, they cockfight over the girl in rust. They do their tricks, they squat, they scratch, they flap their tails. They do-si-do to the right, turn to the left. They reel and hop and bop their heads, but in the end they shuffle, they hustle back to the hen house. They cock-a-doodle-doo and smooch, and a blood-red moon slips behind the barn roof. My next poem is called Footnotes. I can't see very well. I just realized it was better before the light. Okay. Footnotes. Notes. You walk your fingers across my body, my breast, my abdomen, pausing at each scar, each furrow, a detour on the way to my thighs. You wanted to know the stories charted like a map with directions and memories, plotting points of chance and purpose. Feel the crescent moon tattooed below my right nipple, still radiant, but fading as the years go by. Touch my belly where the runaway scalpel left its birthmark, an opening for my firstborn. You know me now, and when your hand reaches across the footnotes of my skin, touching every bump, every scab, I'll wait for your fingers' imprint across my spine, like runes of an ancient tribe. This poem was inspired by Leonard Cohen's Dance Me to the End, and I call it Dance Me to the Dusk of Time. Dance me through the apple orchard, ripe and plump and ready to be plugged. Fling me through the fields of flowers, yellow mustard, buttercups. And when your palm touches mine, let our lifelines merge. Dance me to the dusk of time. Let me touch your inside seams, stitch together words of praise. Let me teach you how to soar from the first kiss to the last chore. Dream of me as a yellow star, hang my portrait on your wall. Dance me to the birth of time, bloody skies, infant cries. Rock me to the freedom chorus, to the oaths of belonging. Lift me like a red-tailed hawk, high above the ring of fire. Dance me to the dusk of it all. Dance me through the apple orchard, ripe and full and ready to be plucked. Dance with me through the fields of flowers, yellow mustard, buttercups. And when your palm touches mine, let our lifelines merge. Dance me to the dusk of time. My last poem was written by my husband. He used to write songs. It's a slow ballad, and the lyrics are written for me. So this is written by Mike, my husband. It's called I Thought Love. I thought love had gone away forever, leaving me with just a bitter taste. I thought love was only for the foolish, something to get rid of post-haste. I thought love had lost all useful meaning, just a word when seen within a line. I thought love was swept beneath the covers, something just for lovers, not mine. Then you came along and touched me, tearing down my cynical facade. When I asked myself what really mattered, torn and tattered, I thought love. I thought love an antiquated notion, quainter than the hourglass of time. I thought love perpetual full motion, something without reason or rhyme. I thought love was only an illusion, leaving traces scattered in the night. I thought love the source of all confusion, something out of kilter, not right. Then you came along and touched me, tearing down my cynical facade. When I asked myself what really mattered, torn and tattered, I thought love. Okay, I thought that was lovely to write that for me. Okay, our last poet that's going to read today from our group, Women Who Write, is my friend and poet, Gabby Willow. And we knew each other from way back when we were working on the high school poetry program. For 6 years, we worked together on that. And she's just overall just brilliant in all directions, such a good organizer, everything. And I also like to tell you, I read her book. It's called No Room for Slippage. It's excellent. I really recommend it to you. And it's about Provincetown. And anyway, here she is, Gabby. Okay, welcome, Gabby.
Mute, unmute.
There you go. There you go. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's the same me that was here before. So this is my husband, Steve, attended all 18 of the Valentine's Day readings that we did at the library, and then even he did Zoom. The last one we did in person during the open mic. I looked down at the readers, and there he was. He was going to read a poem, and he had at the suggestion of someone in the audience, after hearing the poems I'd read about him in my reading, they said, "You ought to read a poem to her." And he pulled a book off of the shelf of the library and came up to the microphone and read a poem. So he's not here today. He passed away in July. And so a lot of my poems do express my love for him today and the wonderful life that he gave me. And I will start with this one. Your shoes. I look at your shoes today, long and narrow. I hold one in my hands, smell the sweet mixture of fine leather and light sweat. My fingers move slowly across the soft, worn surface you've so carefully rubbed with brown kiwi over the years. I hear your firm footsteps, see your long stride across our wooden floors, quickly up and down the stairs, on concrete, briskly down the street. You've walked life at an angle against the wind. I see by the swirl on the ball of the soul that most of your turns are to the right. My left-handed man, I love you. Summer love, so full of promise, that budding peony ready to burst, ants trace the bud, licking tacky sap, columbine blooming in the rotting poplar stump. A long evening sunset stretches thin across the bay. Crickets mingle with the throaty frog down in the marsh. Sweet, sticky air, and we're in the thick of it. Years in a garden of delight. She emerges from the thistles, all thorn-torn and bedraggled. A moonlit smile shines through smudges of dirt, rich, warm, worm-tunneled dirt spread across her face. Delicate petals fall from her tangled hair, and the scent of sweet briar rose fills the air. He stands before her with open arms. With bent finger, he slowly travels a trail in her weathered skin from chin to forehead, tracing creases of their coupled years. She whispers against his gentle hand, "Wherever we are buried, my love, let it be together, covered deep with this cool, dark soil we know so well." There is something about a bowl that satisfies so. Its ability to hold or be held between two open hands when filled to the brim with a warm, hearty soup, or set upon a dark wooden table, holding golden, delicious apples. Something about containing, yet remaining open and still, each to its own, in shape and size, recognizing its particular purpose. Something about a bowl that is so completely reliable. Your shoes. Oh no, I did that one. I'm going in the wrong direction here. Wait a minute. Sorry about that. Love caught blindsided. It is when I look away, turn my head and catch you at an angle, see only a hand, not even the two, a foot perhaps, or just your eyes. I become so intrigued by the sips of you that all of you is sometimes too much to bear. Oh yes, he has taught me to capture spiders beneath the cup and take them to a place of safety instead of brushing them aside with the dust rag or sucking them up in the vacuum. He calls me sweetheart. He has a long stride and a large heart. I wonder if a man's stride is a measure of his generosity. There was one I wanted to read, but I can't find it. So I am going to end with half a winter moon held in the sky, cradled in the bough of the leafless cherry tree. Oh, what a night to be held. Thank you all for listening to our reading. And now I'm going to turn things back over to Teresa, who will host the open microphone part, the general reading from here.
Thanks so much, Gabby, and thanks so much to everyone who just read. I hope that you had a chance to follow the comments in the chat feature. That there were a lot of very nice messages to all of you there. Now we've come to the part of the program where we're going to open it up and have our open mic reading. So please, if you would like to share a poem, raise your hand to indicate that. And the way to do that is along the bottom of your screen. If you roll over the bottom under the reaction menu tab, if you click on reaction, then you'll be able to choose raise hand, and that will indicate that you would like to share. And I hope that you'll bear with me. This is an imperfect process. I'm going to do my best to call on everyone. And as I do call on you, would you please unmute yourself to read your poem? And we're also asking people to keep the length of your poem to about a minute and a half tops, so that we can get as many people in as we can today. So thank you. I'm seeing a lot of hands already raised, and I'm going to start with Noel. And I'm going to ask you to unmute first. And then,
There we go.
yeah, perfect. And then please go ahead and share your poem whenever you're ready.
Okay, this is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is called Hebert. It's not a conventional love poem. It's about a doctor, a family doctor we had. And it's called Hebert. Climbing the steep, narrow stairway, he barely fit in the upstairs room. His black overcoat remained on, in sharp contrast to his large, pale face and the shock of white hair, the display of all too straight teeth, offered as a smile. Setting a worn black bag on the bed, he sat me up in the darkness, listened to my breathing, nodded off momentarily, as he was known to do. But this was seen only by me, then declaring, "She'll be fine," after a mouthful full of pink sulfur liquid. It was always the same. Hebert, my mother called him, never doctor, although she did name Daniel after him. I'm sure when I die, it will be Hebert who will come for me. Black overcoat, black bag, shock white hair, and all too straight teeth. That's the end of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Noelle. And
Sure.
we'll go on to our next reader. I see Margaret, my fellow librarian there. So Margaret, if you'd like to go next.
Okay, I'm unmuted, right?
You are.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Mine is called The Journey. The journey will require decisive movement in every direction, though in the end, mostly within. The destination is love. Don't laugh. I thought I would get there. I thought I would be fluent in the language, partake in the feasts, know the streets. I tried countless times. Flights canceled, tours called off, bankruptcies, no refunds. Once I set out by foot. Maps were vague, so bad at directions I got lost. Others lost too. Some on the boardwalk singing such sad songs. They cook over camp stoves in the parking lot, eat at weathered picnic tables, splintered, best not to touch. At night, their sleepless shadows, solitary, intense. I am at the funnel cake stand, watch as a few walk hand in hand, enter the house of miracles, all trompe-l'oeil and mirrors, and yet some never exit. There are those who say love, a myth. Others say metaphor. A seer said faith makes it found, that it is all around, not a place, but an interior parallel state. No need to look further. You are already there. Make the turn right here, now. You are in love. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Margaret. All right, Barbara, if you'd like to go next.
Okay. Okay. As a few of you know, my husband is an inveterate backpacker. And so this is about the recent season. It's my Valentine for Larry, called Off Season. Over his shoulder this wet January day, I see on his computer the familiar spread of a topo map. The signature green and white, concentric contour lines ringing Sierra peaks, here and there a sprinkling of blue lakes. And yes, the fragile outline of trail leading up over the pass and down into the basin where a lake nestles just below the inlet creek. Although still months away, I know he can already hear the rush of late snowmelt, the white water boulder splashing on its way. Already picture the late afternoon light reflecting in the tarns. Even sense the evening chill in the wind through the white bark pines. What can I say? Today, storm clouds sit low over the roof, the skyline of the ridge invisible in fog. As a child ill with fever kept from his play, a dog at the window wanting out. Here's the mountaineer housebound until the next season.
Thank you so much, Barbara. All right, I think our next reader, Catherine, if you'd like to go next.
Hi, it's good to see everybody. Synchronous. Across the Milky Way, a star novas into brilliance. 2,000 years later, Homo sapiens marvel at the light. Soothsayers predict triumphs for kings and wars begin. But the star, cindered, cooling, dark, rides gravity currents on a path set spinning millennia before. Years measured on Earth by rotations of a speck of blue around a tiny yellow star, not destined for glory from then to now to forever, that slippery fable of time. Physicists ponder the behavior of twinned particles separate by light years, synchronous in spin. In cities, sodium lights erase night, dim the river across the sky. Still, lovers come together, entangled in a singularity of desire, bodies made of star stuff, borrowed for a blink, returned.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, Marie, would you like to go next?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Hi, wonderful to hear everybody. It's terrific poetry. I brought a poem by Ron Kirchhoff, which is so wonderful. I wish I'd written it myself. And it's called Lilith. Lilith preceded Eve. I think she was too sexy, so then Eve came along. Lilith. She did not graze on all fours, but wrapped her arms and legs around Adam and said, "Oh, Daddy, it feels so good." And he promised her a little place of her own in Manhattan. God saw that he had made a mistake. And so he put him to sleep, wiped his brain smooth as a grape, and tried again with Eve, who lay flat on her back, arms and legs extended as if she'd fallen from a tree. As Adam tried, she talked out loud. So much to do, so many animals to name, so much adoration to give him. Adam rolled off her, sat up, holding his side. "It hurts," he said. "What does?" "Here. That's called a rib." "No, above that." "Your heart." "I've only been here 10 minutes and already I know ever so much more than you." "I think it's broken." "Oh, pooh. Everything's wonderful and all you do is complain. You should be glad you're not an insurance salesman." Adam had to admit she was right. Yet what was that smell of crushed fern? Such heat disguised as words, a vision, lovely toes pointing toward the sun. "Sorrow," he said. "I feel sorrow." You eat too fast, said Eve. It's gas.
Thank you, Marie. All right, Susan, would you like to go next?
Yes, I will. This is sort of a different take on the whole thing. My husband had Alzheimer's escalating for 10 years. And there were men who started to call me. And this is about one of them. I am moon mad, not keen for Yeats's golden apples, but for the silver ones. Years ago, before these glints lit my hair, a too much man said that my freedom was widow practice. Now not act, but fact, and a self inconsistent as the moon, moves from hiding and swells toward that full-blown state before its gibbous wane. But I told the man who wanted me, my silver apples are not for thee. So,
Thank you, Susan. Doreen?
Thanks to all the readers. This is such a wonderful event. This is called The Kiss in Central Park. After our visit to the General Assembly of the United Nations, instantaneous translators' booths glassed in and blinking down silently, huge seal wreathed by those two olive branches, balancing like a setting sun over the sea of empty seats. And after you shot up to the clouds in that building at Vanderbilt 1 to experience nirvana, at least, with assorted kids and adults punching silver balloons around and staring through a crystal floor at the city below, where little I waited for over an hour and big U didn't find me. And after we circled the island Manhattan, passing under all of her bridges, all of her skyscrapers named and dated for us, and the Statue of Liberty perched herself on the shoulder of your blue jacket for the requisite photo. And after the chat on 3rd Avenue with the Greek elevator salesman who commutes to this city 2 hours each day, each way, so his kids will grow up in Pennsylvania. And our visit to the 9/11 memorial, the voices of the bereaved echoing in my ears as each named someone dear they'd lost on that day, you chattering with the Peruvian taxi driver all the way uptown, I staring at the reincarnation of 3,000 New Yorkers bustling through the streets, the avenues of this town as only New Yorkers can. We took a stroll in Central Park. The foliage turned dark as we walked, while off in a meadow, one tree blazed red-orange. In this last hour of our visit, let's tango, you proposed, but our tired feet just refused to dance. So you propped your cell phone on a rock, we struck a pose, and click, that was it, our tired little tango. And as we stood next to a bench memorializing one Bubba Shapiro, sweet and squishy and bristly with beard, your lips landed on mine, sealing between us all the lives and deaths that had accompanied us this time through the marvelous streets of New York, New York.
Thank you, Doreen. I do not see any other raised hands. So last chance, if anybody would like to jump in to share one final poem before we sign off. All right, so I'm not seeing any other volunteers. So I wanted to thank everyone today, all of the wonderful readers and the Women Who Write group. It was, as someone said earlier, just a wonderful event. Hopefully next year we'll be able to do it in person and not have to worry so much about muting and unmuting and all of these things. But I did record this event, so you'll be able to view it at a later date on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna turn it off right now. Yeah.